All right, and we're recording. I'm here with Piggy Man,
Hi there.
and we're gonna play a silent run on Slay the Spire, where Piggy is going to give his thoughts. He is a good silent player, and I am not. So hopefully, we learn a lot here.
I'll do my best. All right. The first thing I like to do is just pop open the map, see what the layout of the act is, see what the boss is. So the boss is Guardian. I think that's a fairly good thing. I think that's one of the easier Act One bosses for the Silent.
So for Watcher, you always want Slime Boss. I think Slime Boss is supposed to be relatively hard on the other classes.
Slime boss is very hard for Silent, actually. Silent struggles to get a lot of damage out like quickly, and so for Slime boss, getting a really good split with Silent is tough. Um, whether it's shivs or poison, it, it's tough to get a deck that can belt out enough damage to Slime Boss to effectively incapacitate him. And if he splits with poison, his two smaller slimes don't get any poison.
Ooh, yeah. Does this also mean we're kind of skeptical of taking a lot of elites in the first act if we don't have a lot of damage, given like Gremlin Knob is a damage race?
Yeah, it depends what our first cards that we add to our deck are. I encourage a path that maybe takes, a few fights. There looks like there's a lot of good options there. Um, what are the options that were offered by Meow? Um, I'm not. I like choose a rare card. Silent has some pretty good rare cards, especially for Act One. Like Die 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 is very powerful. Corpse Explosion would be excellent.
Uh, Die 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 is do like 14 damage to all exhaust or something like that.
Yeah, 13 damage. Yeah,
13.
but
And
very very strong early card.
Corpse Explosion is something to do with poison, but also if you kill the thing that was poisoned, it can move the poison to something else.
Not that it moves the poison, but it does an amount of damage equal to whatever creature dies
Oh, total health.
max health.
Max health,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's very good crowd. Both are very good crowd control. So I guess crowd control is probably like the earliest priority.
Damage is the earliest
Damage.
priority, really.
Okay.
But and I can name several other rare cards we'd be happy to see. Glass Dagger, very strong early. Adrenaline is just always good. I'm not a huge fan of choose a colorless card. I think colorless cards have a lot of variance. Can be really good, or like Hand of Greed is insane, but can be really bad, like Forethought or things like that. Max HP is okay, but doesn't immediately strengthen us really.
Is Silent a class that ever takes an early shop, or are we not super invested in money early? Like, are we really really need to get rid of a like strike or defend early or something like that, or are we not really impacted by that?
I mean, if we had been offered gold here, like 100 gold, or lose max health for 250 gold, then I would absolutely be interested in an early shop. Um, given that it's like either choose a colorless card, max HP +7, those feel like low impact, not great picks in my opinion. I'm tempted to pick the rare card, which without gold would shift us away from trying to get the early shops.
And lastly, Silent has a pretty good starting relic, I think, and
Yeah,
I assume is not particularly interested in the boss swap.
not typically. Ring of the Snake, I think, is up there as one of the stronger uh, starting relics. Boss swapping is fun. Like you never know what you're gonna get, and sometimes it completely changes a run. Like for example, getting an early Pandora's box
Yeah.
will completely change the way you play the game.
All right, so let's take the rare card, and obviously choose a rare much better than get a rare.
To me, there is an obvious pick here.
So you have already mentioned what I think that pick is, but I'm going to go through and try to evaluate. Um, Nightmare seems like, unless you have some really valuable zero cost target, I don't see why it would obviously do something useful. And even then, it seems like a lot of work. Grand Finale
Yeah,
also seems like a lot of work, and you mentioned Glass Knife earlier, and that is a lot of damage for 1 mana. Especially, I think, because Silent has, like, is harder to get damage than other classes.
yeah. Nightmare, that's precisely it. We don't have anything yet that we want a nightmare. It costs 3 energy, which is all of our energy in a turn early on until we get some sort of energy generation or an energy relic. Too costly, too little impact. A very strong card later on, but not currently. Grand Finale is tough to set up. You need like good draw manipulation, discarding, etc. We have none of that. So Grand Finale, we could easily draw it on our first turn and it have it just be a dud.
And do you want to celebrate Glass Knife?
Glass Knife, 16 damage for 1 is super strong. That's stronger than just 2 strikes. And its upgrade is amazing,
Ooh,
making it 12 damage twice. 24 damage for 1 energy is incredibly potent.
that is crazy.
It
I have
does.
not ever upgraded this card, so I didn't know that. Yeah.
I think if you left click the cards, you can see what they upgrade, right? Yeah. I think some
Oh, and then
people get spooked by this card, the way that the damage decreases, but in practice, most fights are over before you've seen Glass Knife like for a third time, you know?
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I like that it doesn't. I was expecting it to increase how much it decreased by when we upgraded. I guess that would be weird, but I was sort of expecting that. Um, my instinct on pathing would be I kind of like just hugging the left, where there's campfires both before and after elites. We do hit 2 elites. I'm not sure I want to. Yeah, just probably fully hug the left would be my instinct, just skimming this.
I like that too.
Would you be
And
going somewhere else?
since we don't have any gold, right path is much less interesting. Um, we could even take I think 5 regular monsters. Given this is Ascension 1 and not Ascension 20, the ease of taking out those early enemies will be pretty low or pretty easy, I should say.
Like, I normally try not to have 4 encounters, like, on higher ascensions before the first kind of power boost. Um, because there's the jump in difficulty of going from the easy pool for the first 3 to the harder pool for the next ones. But I
Mm,
figure, and I don't think we really have a good way to avoid that here. Anyway,
no, it's up to you whether we take one event or not here. But left path, I agree.
so my feel on events is like Act 2 events are pretty good, and I also really don't like Act 2 encounters. So I tend to grab a lot of events in Act 2 and try to grab more fights in Act 1 and Act 3.
Yeah, I think in general, you want a lot of monsters
Because you want to be seeing
uh,
cards.
in Act One, right? Because you want card rewards, you, you want gold, you want resources, you want potions, you want all these things, and events are not a guarantee for any of that. Whereas monsters will consistently give you rewards. Yes, perhaps you lose health over the course of fighting certain enemies, but trading health for these resources is often worth it.
So it sounds like you'd probably start center left and take the full encounter version, especially on lower ascension.
On lower ascensions in particular, I would, yeah.
All right, let's do that.
The dreaded jawworm.
Um,
Gr- Pretty
So
great first hand, though.
neutralize, defend, defend, glass knife takes no damage.
And
Uh,
that is what I would do.
it's running a little choppily, but that's okay. Hopefully it's all good on your end.
A touch choppy, but I can see what's happening. No problem.
Strike, strike, survivor.
Perfect.
Are the discard synergies like worth leaning into?
They can be. Sneaky Strike, very strong early card. Acrobatics is notably a very powerful card. Um, and
Acrobatics is. I don't know the silent cards well, so sometimes I'll ask.
Acrobatics is draw 3, discard 1. Um, and I think some people might initially see the discard 1 as a disadvantage, but it's actually quite strong in allowing you to discard status cards, discard curses, and activate discard synergies.
So, speaking of Sneaky Strike, I think my to give my understanding of these three cards, I think Well Laid Plans is supposed to be one of the best silent cards. It doesn't
Indeed.
entirely make sense to me why. I think retaining a card is pretty powerful, but silent tends to draw more cards, so tends to have an easier time kind of like saturating into attacking or defending as needed. So it's not obvious to me why it's so good.
The real power of well laid plans is the flexibility it gives. Because when you draw something, say you draw a hand of cards, you don't necessarily, and you draw all your defense, and the enemy's not even attacking. Well, your well laid plans lets you hold on to some defense and block for next turn. Uh, whatever you want to do, if it's not on the right turn, well laid plan says that's fine. We can save that for the next turn. Um, it is consistently considered one of the strongest cards because of the ability to do what you need to on the right turn.
So would it be a more powerful card on other classes? Because given silent draws more, I mean, I would think silent more often can do kind of their intended thing anyway. So, like, as good as it is on silent, would it then be better on other classes, or am I misunderstanding something?
No, I think you're correct. I think well laid plans would be welcome on any deck. Um, well laid plans is essentially like runic pyramid. Runic pyramid being a boss relic that allows you to keep your hand from turn to turn, and I most decks and most of the four characters are typically very happy to see a runic pyramid.
And then you mentioned Sneaky Strike, and if Act 1 or early game was entirely about taking damage, then this might be the priority.
I do like Sneaky Strike. It will incentivize us to maybe take something else that discards in a future card reward. We do want early damage, and Sneaky Strike can do that. It's free in several instances if we play Survivor for the time being. Quick Slash is okay. A damage draw one is good, but it's a card that falls off more than others as the game goes on.
I do have the sense that, like, if you've played other card games where you draw, like, where you don't draw a new hand each turn, you are taught to really value drawing a card, and it is not as good in Slay the Spire as I first assumed it would be. It's not to say it's not good, but it is not, like, as incredible an effect.
Yeah, you are limited by how much energy you have. Though the more you draw, the more chance you have of drawing the cards you want. That said, I think my vote here would be Sneaky Strike or Well Laid Plans.
Do you have a preference between the two here? I assume if this was like Act 2 or sometime when we had already gotten more damage, it would become Well Laid Plans clearly. Is it still Well Laid Plans clearly, or
I think a better player than me would take well laid plans here, but I'm happy to just take the sneaky strike.
All right, let's take Sneaky Strike then. So what's the turn order? If you've discarded a card. So if you wanted to do that, you'd start with Survivor, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think we have a full block here as well.
How much does Sneaky Strike do? 12? So my instinct was to get rid of a strike, but now I kind of want to get rid of a defend because Sneaky Strike and Strike lethal's one of them, and we'll have mana left over to play a defend and neutralize, which gets it down to 0.
Hmm.
So I think we chuck a defend.
Though bear in mind, these guys will get a little
Oh, sorry.
shield.
For some reason, I thought it had 12 life up plus 6, so I was counting kills 18. It has 20 total. Okay, yeah.
But I still would get rid of a defend because if we defend now, we full block even if we don't kill one of them.
Oh, right, because that got defend. I forgot that it created defend. I was just thinking of it in terms of the discard. I think I'm going to neutralize and strike the same target.
Yeah, you can just kill it here.
Yeah, just to get the kill. We're already full block. Glass Knife does kill things fast.
It does.
Okay. I'll give first impressions and then you can correct because I think this one's interesting.
Sure.
Masterful Stab. I have no idea. I think probably in most fights the downside's not particularly bad. And 12 for 0 is a lot. Also, I don't know what the upgrade is. Maybe it's even better.
I think it's 16. Yeah.
Poison Stab, I really like. Poison is good, and it can do so while chipping damage for fights that are faster than poison would take to kill things. I also quite like Deadly Poison, but I think Poison Stab is better. And so my instinct would be Poison Stab is better than Deadly Poison, and Masterful Stab, I don't know, so it could be better or worse than both, or somewhere in between.
I think Poison Stab and Deadly Poison are about even. Bearing in mind that like Poison Stab is better against Knob, but Deadly Poison may be a little better against Lagavulin. They're both kind of like Deadly Poison is terrible against sentries, given that they have artifacts.
Well, Stab does a little there.
Yeah. Deadly Poison, probably a touch better against the Guardian that we're going to be fighting as the boss of Act 1, given that we can still apply the poison without attacking it for counter damage when it's in its shell form.
That's a good point.
And Masterful Stab is a card that I used to really love because it's like, oh my god, like 12 and possibly even 16 damage for free. That's crazy. Um, but as the game goes on, there's just it becomes more and more likely that you don't full block every turn. Um, Maybe because it's Ascension 1, I value it higher. Ascension 1 enemies are less likely to be able to hurt us. Like we haven't even taken a single point of damage yet through three fights. So I would be tempted to take Masterful Stab here, though I think Deadly Poison and Poison Stab are viable options.
If this was higher Ascension, would you change that pick?
I might lean more to the Deadly Poison.
All right, let's take Deadly Poison then, because I, hope to upgrade on Ascension here in the near future.
Kaka!
Exactly. I'm I guess Deadly Poison just does more than strikes, given that this will last more than, one turn.
Correct.
Probably just defend, defend, strike.
Yeah.
I guess
What
we
are
could
the
take
3
1
cards
point.
still in our draw pile?
Good point. So we have 9 damage coming, and they're going to be on 23, and they'll take 3 more from poison at the end of next turn. So if we do 11 this turn, we guarantee lethal next turn, no matter what the other cards we draw. I think.
Yeah. I don't even think we need to. I think
So
we
strike,
can
strike,
pretty
defend.
safely. I think we can safely full block this, even
All
if
right.
it's just 1 health. Though in later ascensions, so one of the signs of a good player is knowing when to take damage to kill the enemy faster.
If I defended first, I didn't need the other defend, but it would have saved time not having to choose the discard. That's obviously the high skill play.
Yeah, how dare you waste our time?
Exactly. All right. The first time I played, when I was just unlocking stuff, I loved Crippling Cloud. Probably not as good as I thought, but I feel like it should be pretty good in Act 2, where I think crowd control is pretty important. Footwork is a card I thought was absolute trash, but the last time I played Silent with a friend, I thought it was really good. So, I don't know, maybe it's good. And Bane seems pleasant in Poison, so I have no idea. My instinct is Footwork is good scaling for late game and maybe has the most upside there, but also that's not really what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah. I think Crippling Cloud is great.
Oh,
Crippling
that's sweet.
Cloud is AoE poison and weak, very potent. It exhausts, so it gets itself out of the way too of our deck, so we can kind of do what our deck is meant to do. And even if enemies have artifacts, it strips 2 artifacts because of both the poison and the weak. Very powerful card in my opinion.
Makes it a lot easier to just get out poison or other effects after. Yeah.
Correct. Footwork is very good, excellent scaling, but less good early. Like when you're trying to just kill things quickly, like offense is the best defense early on, I think. Footwork starts to become much more attractive to me in Act 2 and Act 3 to help you scale harder. I'm less tempted by it early on. Bane is solid. Bane is good, but given that we have a glass knife, a sneaky strike, um, I don't think it's as necessary here. Crippling Cloud is my clear pick.
All right, cool. Good job to younger me. By which I mean 2 months ago, me. So glass knife effects before their shield thing happens, I think.
Correct.
So we can just kill one.
Yeah, but here I would Survivor first.
Survivor first to sneaky strike, yeah.
Indeed.
I'm gonna check this because we won't need all 3. I like that poison dodges various, gets around some block effects.
Yeah.
Like that one. Okay, so you mentioned Acrobatics earlier, a card I have never taken, but probably is good. Quick Slash, I feel like, is we talked about it a bit, but I didn't mention that it's so obviously better than Strike that if you're thinking, I introduced this game to a friend recently and they were like, this card's better than Strike, obviously we should take it, but Strike is terrible. Better than Strike is not the bar we're aiming for in the long run.
Yeah.
Endless Agony, I think, is kind of weird because just how it plays on its own is 4 damage, make another. If you play that immediately, it also exhausts and you basically get 8 damage for 0, which is fine, but not incredible or anything. And so maybe there's ways to pay off it more, but I thought it wasn't as good as I thought it was when I first looked at it.
Hmm. Yeah, Endless Agony is kind of a funny card. I think where it shines is through relic synergies, like Kunai, Shuriken, Ornamental Fan, all these things that have effects that proc off of, attacking multiple times. Shivs are really good for that as well, of course, but Endless Agony is kind of a flexible pick that either lets you just do all the damage right away, or you can decide
Play
I'm
one,
actually going
keep
to
the other.
save it and later on I'll have more of them.
Yeah. Do you I guess it's probably better for Silent than it would be for other characters, just because drawing 7 makes it easier to insert 0 into whatever else you're doing, and still use up all your mana usefully.
Yeah. Um, Quick Slash is still kind of mid, kind of not great. As you mentioned, it's just a slightly better strike, which we have higher expectations. Acrobatics here, I love. Acrobatics is better when we have 4 energy because using 1 energy just to draw more cards, especially when the silent already has the advantage of drawing cards, a little bit iffy, but the real advantage of acrobatics here is the sneaky strike we already have in our deck. Drawing 3 cards means that we're going to have, at a minimum, 8 cards to see, and if any of those are sneaky strike, we play sneaky strike for free.
So, if we didn't have Sneaky Strike, would you still take Acrobatics here?
No, I wouldn't.
You would take Agony, I assume.
I would take. I might even skip. Like we
Okay.
have the glass knife, like it's early ascension again. We have a fair bit of damage. Maybe I would take endless agony just to have a little bit more damage. Um, but the other two are okay choices. I think nothing to write home about.
All right. Yeah, I don't have a sense of how much to be skipping with Silent. Um,
I'd say early on you don't want to skip that much. Like you want cards that are better than your terrible strikes. You want cards that are better than your defense. This can be a tough fight for some, but here I think we could possibly be saved
acrobatic?
by our acrobatics.
Yeah.
Drawing crippling cloud here would be great. Drawing sneaky strike would let us instantly kill one.
There's no way we're playing 4 strikes this turn. I guess it's got to be Crippling Cloud and Neutralize. I guess
Um,
we could double strike to kill something and neutralize something else as well. That way we
yeah,
play.
I think crippling cloud. I would just crippling cloud here. You take a little bit of damage, but nothing we can't heal back. This is known to be a one of the tougher Act 1 fights.
Right, I'm just gonna hit one of the higher HP ones, I guess.
I would actually hit the middle one because that one I think if you hit it dies next turn from poison no matter
Ah,
what.
true. Okay. I was thinking it doesn't die this turn and not thinking further ahead.
Foresight is definitely a strength in Slay the Spire, but not the card. The card Foresight sucks.
I'm gonna Glass Knife and double defend.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I'm pretty good at calculating ahead on Watcher, and just like my brain just hasn't learned to do it for any other class. Like I just don't even like think to. Right, I'm gonna Acrobatics here because like the
Yeah.
downside is we Survivor and strike and take nothing, and the upside is bigger.
That's the advantage of card draw. Just getting the cards that you need when you need them.
So I look at Predator and I assume it's not very good. I look at Crippling Cloud and have no idea if we want to have two. And I think Bane's okay, but this I could imagine this is one where you're going to say we should skip, and I could imagine this is one where you're like, nope, you're wrong. Predator is fantastic, or of course you take a second Crippling Cloud.
I do think Predator is quite good. Like 15 damage, Act 1, very strong. Good, solid. And letting you draw two additional cards next turn means seven cards. A lot of flexibility. We love draw. Um, Crippling Cloud, I don't think is the type of card that you want two of. It does cost two energy. Act 1, you only have three. So if you draw two Crippling Clouds on turn 1, you can't use one of them. And since we have both Deadly Poison and Crippling Cloud, I could be convinced to take Bane here. But I'm not sure that it's that different from our Glass Knife, and I think I'd rather be drawing our Glass Knife than a Bane. I'm kind of tempted by Predator here.
All right, let's see Predator. I was gonna hug the left here.
I think we can upgrade our Glass Knife before we take on an Elite here. Upgrading Crippling Cloud is solid as well, though I think Glass Knife is better against like Knob and Sentries.
If you have picked up no new cards for some deranged reason, what would be the like starter deck priority to upgrade, or just like neutralize probably?
Neutralize, yeah. Too weak is very good. Let's kind of like for like Knob for example. If you get a neutralize, it can make two of his turns hurt way less.
Yeah. But here you'd go Glass Strike or Glass
Yeah,
Knife. Sorry. Yeah,
Glass Knife
combine
would
them.
be my pick.
Yeah. All right. What does Acrobatics do? 4 cards. I'm just looking at cards I'm not used to. 8 to 12 is such a big thing. Like the standard is kind of 5 to 7 or 9 to 12 kind of stuff. 8 to 12 seems like a clearly bigger jump than usual.
It's bonkers. It's an 8 damage upgrade since it strikes twice.
Yeah. Acrobatics and Binkit.
No, here I really like just
Getting the
Predator
cloud up.
Strike.
Oh,
Predator
Predator
lets us draw more cards next turn. Gremlin Knob is a damage race, and we just want to make sure we draw our cards and hit them hard.
All right. I was thinking acrobatics just because the other way to discard is not great to play against Gremlin Knob, but maybe it's still pretty good because 8 block is still worth playing a skill sometimes. Like it feels weird to play a lot of blocks against Knob.
You generally do not want to use blocks or skills of any kind. But in this case, for example, I think I'm happy to just strike Survivor.
Yeah.
It's interesting on lower ascensions, Gremlin Knob
He always does the
will
debuff first late on higher ones.
yeah, he always does a debuff hit, which is weaker on the first one, but makes his second one hit a lot harder. Whereas on early ascensions, he usually will start with a big hit.
Yeah. I would assume there's no reason to use any potions here, and I should just press E.
Yeah, I don't think we're. The way that I think about using a potion is like, how much health would I trade for this potion? Some potions are extremely strong, and like I don't want to use it even if it saves me like 10 health. Sometimes 10 health is not enough. I value that potion as being worth more than just 10 health. um, I think especially like these two potions are very good against the Act One boss, the Guardian. So I'm okay with just taking 8 here. Glass Knife showing its worth there.
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter a ton, but I guess Strike Deadly Poison is just more damage if the fight lasts more than this turn, which it will.
I wouldn't because Deadly Poison will strengthen the knob since it's a
Oh, yeah,
skill.
my bad. Okay, so we should just Sneaky Strike. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. See, Poison Stab was better all along.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it was. I certainly don't claim to be a master at this game. Like while I have played it a lot, and I also watch some streamers who are excellent. Like I don't know if you know Baylor Lord or Jorbs, but those are two streamers that I watch that I have learned a great deal about this game from.
Those are the two people I've tried to watch. Yeah. I mean, I tried a few others, but those are the two I liked. Um, yeah. So Slice is a strictly better strike that is also probably not very good. Maybe it's better though, just given how much card draw you have. Then I think just zero cost is nice. I don't know how good Cloak and Dagger is, and I am skeptical of Outmaneuver, but maybe I'm just wrong. Yeah, I have no idea on these.
Outmaneuver is a card I have a hard time gauging because some decks love Outmaneuver and like because it lets them have these really big turns. We also have like Predator, so like you can imagine like a Predator Outmaneuver turn being excellent because you draw 7 cards and you get 2 energy on the next turn. Um, but I'm not especially tempted by it here.
We draw
We
nine
do
cards, right?
say it again. Sorry.
We would draw 9 cards the next turn, right? Because we already draw the extra 2.
That's only on the first turn.
Oh, my bad. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Slice is actually not a bad option given that we do have a lot of draw. It's it's okay as you mentioned. It's basically just a free strike, which good early, but loses impact quite a bit later. Um, Cloak and Dagger is tempting here because we just got a letter opener, which is the relic we just got. And so now we're incentivized to use a lot of skills. And Cloak and Dagger is a skill that also lets us do damage. We can block and, with that one shiv, get a little bit of damage in.
So it sounds like you would take Cloak and Dagger here.
Um, I'm not sure. Cloak and Dagger, Slice, or Skip, I think, is even viable. But yeah, Cloak and Dagger is fine. We've taken a lot of damage cards, and we're now kind of like skewed more towards damaging and poison than we are towards blocking. So one more block card I think could serve us well.
All right, I'm gonna try to like be biased towards taking cards just because I'm curious to see them in action, just because I haven't played much Silent. Um, so anytime Skip isn't the clear choice, I'm probably just gonna take a card.
I think that some people have the urge or like the tendency to want their deck to spec into a specific archetype. Oh, I'm gonna build a poison deck. I'm
Yeah,
gonna build a shiv deck. I'm gonna build, like a deck that really follows a specific path or strategy, and ignoring cards that don't fit into that. But I think as you become a better Slay the Spire player, you kind of learn that you just got to take the cards that make you stronger, that help you take out the upcoming enemies, that let you deal with the obstacles that you're going to face. And sometimes that means you have a weird deck that does poison and that has shivs and that has this big draw engine and discards. You just take what you need.
yeah. I think there's been some interesting and like my initial googling about this, writing about how both archetypal thinking is not useful in this game, but also that the more you can deal with the immediate threats, the better you can make your deck, and the more you can snowball through the game.
Yeah.
So, where do you start thinking about resting on Silent? Like, I would assume this is a Smith, but I am curious.
I would likely Smith here. Quick peek at the map will help me make my decision as well. We are coming to another elite. We notably just faced Gremlin Knob, which means that we cannot face Gremlin Knob again. Um, So we will face sentries or Lagavulin. I'm pretty sure with 45 health and 2 potions that we could probably handle either of them. What comes after the elite, real quick? Just a quick scroll up, see maybe when our next fire is, and then afterwards, yeah, event, enemy, fire. I think we can safely smith here.
And all right, what's the upgrade on Sneaky Strike? 16. This goes to 7 poison. Yeah. Add 2 shivs. 20. I have no idea. Where would you be going?
I think we have a lot of really good upgrade choices here. I think Predator is strong, 5 extra damage. Crippling Cloud adds 7 poison to all, very good. Um, and yeah, maybe those would be my main 2 choices.
All right, I'm gonna go Crippling Cloud then. I think less overruled at the last second. How do you feel about
Lock it in.
the Cloak and Dagger upgrade?
An extra shiv is good, um, but we don't have any immediate synergies that would make me think that that would be worthwhile. So some relics are so bad that it
You
can
should.
be worth to take the blue key instead. That said, mango is not one of them. 14 bonus health is huge, very good.
I would Crippling Cloud and pass here. I think. Does that break? Yeah, I would Crippling Cloud and pass.
So if you apply poison to Lagavulin, it will wake up.
Oh,
The poison
anything that does
damage.
damage through will wake it up. Okay.
Yeah,
And because that skips shields, it doesn't. Yeah. Okay.
that's it. That said, if we like crippling cloud neutralize here, it's gonna be weakened for the next 2 turns
Of
that
attacking.
it's going to be attacking you for. So I I think that it's fine to do, especially since I think Survivor and a few of our other defends are still in the draw pile. Some people would say maybe wait for a better turn, but I don't know that we're going to necessarily have a better turn than this. What do we still have in our draw pile? Yeah, I don't mind it waking up right now. We can use a potion if we need to.
Yeah, and 7 damage is actually relatively good for how much damage we can do on a wake up turn. Like, obviously, Predator does that much already over the block, but, like, we're not going to get that much more, I think.
Yeah, and crippling cloud is actually like nearly 30 damage in its entirety.
Oh, we have a turn thing left over. I can't count. That's because I was thinking we were just going to Cloud because I thought it would be blocked. So I wasn't thinking about using the last energy. All right, Survivor Strike.
Survivor sneaky strike, yeah, very nice here. Yeah, and we can ditch the regular strike. Here,
I
I like to just.
Poison Cloak Defend.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's what I would do as well.
I didn't realize the 3 strikes. I'm not very good at paying attention to relics. Sometimes I pay attention to like pen nib, but mostly I just forget about the ones that count.
Yeah, it blows my mind when I watch like these high tier streamers and like they're perfectly setting up their relics, like their ink bottle and their nunchaku and like all these things that like are based on like counters of 10 and having them carry over into the next fight. I'm just like, wow, I am not nearly as good at this game as I think I am.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Ooh, I love this relic because I love skipping.
That is a great relic. Incentive, especially this early, Act 1, and we've gotten a mango already. I can easily see us hitting like 120, 130 max health this run.
Okay, well, new cards to discuss. My instinct is dodge and roll is better than backflip, but as I say it, it sounds like it's probably not. But I'm gonna stick with it. I think dodge and roll is better than backflip, and I don't know how useful Blade Dance is to us, but 12 damage for one and gets a skill off seems pretty decent.
Yeah, I really like backflip. I think backflip draw two. Uh, for even if the effect was only draw two, I think I could almost still be convinced to sometimes take it. The fact that it also gives you five block is a nice bonus. Um, Dodge and roll, I hate to contradict. I think it's a little worse
No,
than.
contradicting is good. I want to know where I'm wrong. I'm wrong about lots of stuff. I want to know it. Being wrong is great. You can improve without being horribly wrong. This is good.
Dodge and roll is okay, but like just like right now, for example, it's literally a worse defend on just the turn that you use it. And it's not guaranteed that you're still in the fight the next turn, right? So you may not even reap its benefits for the next turn. Um, I think Slay the Spire often incentivizes things that are strong now, and things that only give you strength in later turns tend to be weaker. Um, that said, like if you can imagine when we had the chance to take the footwork, if we took the footwork, dodge and roll suddenly becomes a lot stronger.
Sure.
Dodge and roll scales excellently with dexterity.
Yeah, one really cool thing about Slay the Spire, and this goes with the archetype stuff you were saying early, is like basically every card is sometimes viable depending on what else you've seen and what you have going on.
That's it. That's one of the beauties of Slay the Spire.
Very
Such
nicely
a,
balanced game.
I agree. Uh, Blade Dance is nice given that we have the letter opener, but I'm less tempted to take it here given that we are going up against Guardian and Shivs
Ooh,
are
yeah,
really bad against Guardian when he's in his shell form.
good point.
And we already have, I think, our answer to Guardian, which is going to be poison. I think we're interested even in upgrading Deadly Poison now to kind of get that going faster. And as I've kind of mentioned, I think backflip is excellent. We have um, we have lots of reasons to want to draw a lot of cards. Gives us more flexibility. Lets us block, which I think is great. Uh, that would be my pick.
Would second place be +2 max HP?
Yes, for me here it would be.
I'm a big fan of removing a card, but I don't know specifically what Silent wants here. And
There's
gold
no
is nice.
shops upcoming, is there?
No.
Yeah, I think I agree. I say let's remove a card.
And my assumption would be we're removing a strike.
Yeah, strikes are smelly.
In general with Silent, like say you had like 2 remove at the start, would you do strike defend, double strike, double defend? Because early on attacking is good.
Yeah, you do need ways to kill stuff. I would probably remove one strike, one defend.
Okay.
I think the only class that values strikes more than defends is the Watcher,
Yep.
because the Watcher strikes can essentially be doubled, but its defends remain the same.
12 twice. So I'm gonna do it to the back one, I think, with Sneaky Strike. Because I think
Yeah, just bear in mind when you kill one of these guys that
you get vulnerable.
you get vulnerable. Since we have
So we
three
could.
potions,
Yeah, sorry,
I,
continue.
since we have three potions, I think we're okay with possibly using a potion if it saves us health. I don't know that it's necessary here.
We do have 2
Um,
campfires before the boss.
and there is that. Yeah, glass knife hilariously kills the front one outright. I would maybe backflip because we could draw neutralize, which
Ah,
would
good point.
not so, but I think we're fine with
I think
that.
it's not worth a potion for 4 damage here.
I
So,
agree.
so obviously, as you fill up on potions, they become more spendable because
Yeah,
otherwise you will throw them away.
it's a shame. Neutralize was the next card. I see that you are also a poison end turn kind of guy.
I have no idea if this is preferable to our other potions here. I would guess we do not take it.
Um, yeah, I don't think that we necessarily need it. I mean, the liquid bronze is very good against guardian since it has a lot of multi attacks. Um, and but I'm not even convinced that we need to use any potions against it. Maybe we'll use our I forget what it's called, but the one that gives you 4 block every turn. Essence of Steel. Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to just skip that liquid bronze.
We haven't talked about escape plan.
What are
I
your
don't.
first thoughts?
I don't trust it, so it's probably
Uh,
great.
I'm going to advocate for escape plan here. We have a letter opener. We're happy to use more skills. Uh, it's at worst just draw one and we get
Oh
nothing
yeah, it
good. But
replaces itself. What am I talking about? Yeah, it's fine. It can't be bad. Yeah, sorry, I can't read. We're good. All right, we
no
did.
worries. But yeah, escape plan very nice here. More procs of our letter opener, and we're gonna be adding increasingly more skills. Like we have poison and we have block, and I think now we have a solid engine with which to kind of go forward with. We're looking for big poison. We're looking for big block.
We have a question mark then a campfire, so I think we're gonna smith here.
Yeah, I'm happy to
You,
make that deadly poison stronger so that we can more easily tackle this guardian coming up.
nice. I'm gonna guess it's actually a strike here, but I think you're gonna say defend. I'm gonna have
No,
it
I
both
agree
ways.
with you. Let's get rid of another strike.
All right. Do you want to heal?
I don't think we need to.
And we do get a
I
full
think,
heal at this ascension after the boss, which is nice.
yeah, I think 46 health for the Guardian is plenty. We have a nice looking deck here, um, and we have a lot of defensive potions. So.
It doesn't increase the draw. That's a shame. All right. My guess is I'm gonna go with neutralize.
Neutralize would be good. I would give 2 thumbs up to a neutralize upgrade. Um,
You wanted
Predator would
predator
probably be
earlier,
my second place.
which I think means it would be your first place, but you're being nice to my pick.
You know me well.
All right, so we can do predator. Let's see it. Survivor, strike, cloud, neutralize.
Uh, yeah, that looks perfect.
And we don't need to make any potion decisions this turn.
Yeah, potions are always like if you don't have to use them until you know you do. It's often better to not use them.
So I think this is predator poison
I agree.
because I don't see
Keep
the need to lower the glass knife on this turn on
yeah,
a fight that's going to last longer and that we have very useful things to do.
and getting more draw next turn is advantageous. We have more chances to draw the block cards we want.
I'm going to escape plan. I think backflip here.
Yeah, just
Try
keep
to see more
drawing.
poison.
Get a deadly poison, perhaps. There you go.
Should we get rid of more cards in our deck so we can redraw deadly poison faster?
Let me see what we still got in our draw pile.
We don't want a ton of this next turn.
Yeah, there's very little block here, and next turn it's going to be doing its double attack, so I can be convinced to acrobatics. Hopefully get neutralized, if anything, and then, yeah, now we can neutralize it next turn. Or, I mean, we can have it be weak for next turn.
Ooh, but we didn't upgrade neutralize. Oh, right, because we already have 1 weak up. Okay.
We don't mind taking 1 damage here.
Would you hit it for 6 here?
I would not. Our poison is going to do the trick.
I think, like, you clearly shouldn't on higher ascension, but if you get the full heal after the boss, it might actually be correct for just speed to do so.
Perhaps.
But, like, it's clearly, yeah, bad for him.
It goes against my instincts.
Yeah. I'm just gonna escape plan. Don't see a reason
Generally,
not to.
always a good idea to escape plan, with the exception of against the heart. Beat of death.
I think acrobatics.
I'm okay to just survive or
survive
defend strike here, full block, and do a little chip.
All right. Do you want to put up a Thorn Boy?
I don't think we need to. I think this guy's toast.
We are going to get more potions.
We are, but the reasoning here is, let's say that the first relic we get next act is Toy Ornithopter, and what Toy Ornithopter does is it heals you 5 health per potion that you use. So you never know. I mean, are the chances high? Maybe not necessarily, but if we beat this guy all the same with or without the potion, I think it's ideal to hold on to the potion.
Actually, do I want us? He's going to be sent out of this phase no matter what this turn, so I may as well show.
Correct.
Because sometimes I think you want to delay ending that phase. I think I do defend last night.
That's right. Don't be tempted by those big damage cards.
I guess it does.
Although I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You can last night if you want. I don't even think it's necessary. He dies in 3 turns.
Just for you.
GG.
So, as someone who's mostly played Watcher, my instinct when I see rares is these are all trash and I don't need them unless they say Scrawl or Vault. Here, you mentioned that Nightmare can be strong later. I still don't think we have a reason that it appeals to us, that maybe it would make us see certain things that would then become better seeing Nightmare. But I think, especially also because we don't know what boss relic we're going to get, I am not enthused by Nightmare. Burst, I don't know. I don't think we have, like... I mean, okay, Bursted Crippling Cloud is pretty good. Burst is probably good. Like, at worst, it's, do something twice that probably also costs 1. And pick the better 1-cost thing to do twice. Bullet Time, I think, is good. I think it's just good. And, like, probably the best choice here. That's my guess.
So, yeah, I'm still not convinced by Nightmare either. Let's take a quick peek at our deck. Yeah, I'm not really sure what we're trying to nightmare here. We don't really have any like powers or any sort of win condition off of this nightmare yet, so not interested. I really like this burst. It's a skill that lets us play skills twice, and the skill that gets doubled counts doubly for our letter opener, allowing us
So
to
it's
proc it more.
automatic 5 to all immediately.
Yeah, even if you just burst to defend, you also essentially do 5 to all enemies with it. Is it worth to use burst just for that? Eh, but burst deadly poison, burst crippling cloud, these are excellent. Bullet time is really good. We do have good draw. We've got backflip, we've got acrobatics, we've got predator. That can make bullet time very strong. Bullet time is stronger when you have a lot of high cost cards. We do have a 2 cost predator. We do have a 2 cost crippling cloud. So I think both bullet time and burst are solid picks. I lean more towards the burst. I think it synergizes better with what we've got at the moment.
Okay. In a vacuum, if you were like you beat the first encounter and you're offered these two rares, which I think is impossible, which would you take?
In a vacuum, like in what, like if I didn't know what my deck was,
Like you have the starter deck, it's the first cards offered to you.
these are the first cards offered to me. I skip. I'm gonna be completely
You skip.
honest.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know that that's correct, but they don't synergize really well. I mean, I guess I'd take burst, and then I'd tell myself, okay, just take the best skills you can find. Though I wouldn't be enthused. I'd be like, this is what I have to pick from.
All right. So tiny house is a lot of kind of close to nothing. I think. Like definitely not nothing, but like at least my experience of tiny house is it is pretty minimal feeling compared to other boss relics. Um, Busted Crown, I really hate. I think it's like entering Act 3, sometimes you're like happy with your deck, but if you are not looking at your deck and like, yeah, this can basically run through the rest of the game, then I find this really difficult to work with. I think this is a pretty decent upgrade on Ring of the Snake, and I would guess this is the pick with Tiny House second. I'm
Interesting.
completely wrong. Nice.
So the Ring of the Serpent, I think, is good, but it's notably a downside on the first turn. You're drawing one less card on the first turn compared to the regular ring. The regular ring is just draw an extra 2 and then no more afterwards, whereas this is draw one more every turn. It's arguable what's better, right? Because you only start becoming draw, or you only get a net positive with this one as of the third turn. Not like how many fights are lasting till the third turn. Maybe a lot, given that we're like a poison deck and we want to kind of set up and stall. Um, but I actually don't think I'd take it here. The busted crown. You're right. It feels
We
awful.
do have Singing Bowl, admittedly, but
It feels awful to have fewer card choices. And I think if this was a higher ascension, I'd be like, there's no chance we take busted crown here. That said, this is Ascension 1. We already have quite a few 2 cost cards. We have Burst. I think we have a decent looking deck. We have 250 gold. I think we prioritize an early shop, and this Busted Crown is fine. Tiny House is, I think, always feels bad to pick. I think you're picking Tiny House because your other 2 options are extremely bad. Like 1 potion, we already have 3 potions. 50 gold, we make that in a couple of fights. 5 max health, we already have a lot with the mango and the singing bowl. 1 card, 1 random card upgrade. The random card upgrade is likely to be a strike or a defense, which would feel bad. I think the tiny house is not great here. Me personally, Ascension 1, I'm happy with the busted crown here. Give me 4 energy.
so if this was Ascension 20, where would you be going?
If this was Ascension 20, I think I would take the Ring of the Snake and really hope to find some sort of energy generation, adrenaline. Maybe then I start to think about taking an outmaneuver.
What is adrenaline?
Adrenaline is you gain energy. It costs 0. Draw 2 cards and gain 1 energy, which becomes 2 energy upon upgrade.
Ooh, that's nice. Is
It
that
is
uncommon or rare?
it's a rare,
Okay.
but it is just one of the bar none, like always useful, like no downside cards.
So the characters I played most, Watcher and then Ironclad. Ironclad, I think, really likes getting a fourth energy. Watcher sometimes really wants it, and sometimes it just doesn't matter. Like you have so much energy generation hopping between stances that, like, you know, sometimes you don't care about a fourth too much. Where is Silent on that scale of like how much does Silent really care about getting a fourth energy?
Silent has quite a few low cost cards, a lot of one cost, a lot of zero cost cards. Um, so I generally say lower. I think the Busted Crown is just more tempting given that we have, a lot of higher cost cards. Like with 4 energy, we can like Survivor, Sneaky Strike, Crippling Cloud, or like Survivor, Sneaky Strike, Burst, Crippling Cloud, or something. We can burst Deadly Poison, Crippling Cloud. Like we have a lot more options, I think. Um, Bursting the backflip lets us draw 4, and then we have a giant hand, and 4 energy will let us use many of those cards.
I'm gonna go Ring of the Snake,
I understand.
but I hear Ring of the Serpent. But I hear your argument. But